Good afternoon and welcome to Module 5. Today I'm going to talk to you about assignments that are due in this module, and I have some content to share with you. So you are over the halfway mark. We're at Module 5, so congratulations. I want to start like I always do. I'm going to share my screen and kind of go over the assignments for this week. So here we go. Okay, so we are at module. I'm going to go into our class. And you guys can see all the classes I have. Don't feel too sorry for me. Okay, I'm going to go to content and go to module 5. So this week we are going to be applying scientifically based research to meet the needs of struggling readers. So under the Learn section, you have two articles that you're going to read. One is called Struggling Readers, Knowledgeable Teachers, and the second is Copy of the Text of Literacy Instruction. Then there are 3 articles below that. This is what you're going to do for your discussion post today. You're going to select one of these articles for your discussion post. If you would like to find another article about struggling readers, you can do that. It needs to be published in the last 5 years, and you need to upload the article. So like I said, if you are an educational therapist or you're a special education teacher and you want to do something a little bit different, that's fine. It just needs to do with struggling readers. So I want to talk to you about a couple of these articles because they were very interesting articles, and I hope that you will glean from them. The first one is talking about struggling readers and knowledgeable teachers. And I wanted to just highlight a couple of things from this article. And I'm going to go down here, and it talks about having knowledgeable teachers and some of the things that we need to do. We need to know our students. So it talks about doing things like having interest inventories and even a literacy history. It's very important that we use our time wisely. And that is, instruction should be bell to bell, we say. Providing accessible, engaging text. According to Allington, struggling readers benefit from that. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that. He has written a book called What Really Matters for Struggling Readers by Richard Allington. Excellent book. And one of the things that he talks about is reading volume has to increase. It needs to increase for students to be able to gain in reading. So we need accessible text, authentic task, and explicit instruction. And so explicit instruction is so critical for our struggling readers. So remember, it's explicit and systematic. And then, of course, we have to gain insights from formative assessments. He talks about other things like collaborating with a literacy team. So if you are the classroom teacher, you need to be collaborating with your reading specialist. If you're in a private school, it might be an educational therapist. It could be the special education teacher. And then creating those homeschool connections are very important. So that is a really good article. Then there's another article that you're going to be reading, and this one talks about the text of literacy instruction, obstacles to or opportunities for educational equity. This article is all about the importance of good text for students. And he talks about reading volume, which I think you're going to see that's kind of a theme for students that are struggling. And then he talks a lot about meaningful and linguistic consistency. And by that, we mean when you think about decodable text. And so there has to be a balance between linguistic consistency, whether it's decodable text or texts that have similar morphology. Sorry, my computer went off. And authentic text. And so this is a really interesting article that looks at those types of text and says we really have to be strategic for our struggling readers to ensure that they have the text that they need. So those are the two articles. Then and below that, go back and share my screen, that everybody needs to read. And then below that, there are 3 articles. So you can pick, there's one about engaging struggling adolescents, there's one about reading rate or rethinking reading instruction. You will read that. There are a couple of videos if you want to watch about struggling readers and some supplemental materials. But for your discussion, you are going to select one of the articles under the Learn section. Tell me the key challenges from the article, what reading challenge was addressed, what were the interventions, and based on what you learned in class so far, did the research intervention adhere to research best practices? So you'll do that for your discussion post. Now you may say, why is there only one assignment? Because there is only one assignment this week, and that's a discussion post. The reason there's only one assignment, I actually deleted another one of your assignments, is because in Module 6, you have 2 big assignments. So I want you to start working ahead on that. In Module 6, you're going to have a discussion forum. And in Module 6, the big assignment is your literature review. So you are going to write a 6 to 8 page literature review on one of the topics that we've talked about. Early literacy, it could be trauma responsive literacy instruction, struggling readers. Some of these we haven't gotten to yet, but digital literacy, literacy for diverse populations, and writing. And I told you guys at the beginning, if there was another topic that you wanted to do, you could do that. You just need to get that approved for me. So you're going to have a literature review. And if you look at the rubric for that, the literature review, and I'm just realizing that you can't see the rubric. Here we go. You're going to have a comprehensive insights and synthesis on the research instruction. I'll be looking at your research sources. Are they high quality research? Grammar and mechanics, structure. So those are the areas that you're going to be looking at. And you can see that the most amount of points, 60 points, is the literature review provides a comprehensive and insightful synthesis of research on whatever topic it is that you are looking at. So that is not due this module. That is due in module 6. But I'm letting you know ahead of time because in module 5, you only have one assignment, and that is your discussion post related to struggling readers. So that's why it's a little bit light this week. Okay, so that's a little bit about struggling readers and what you are to do, but I wanted to share with you some research that I conducted because it goes with our topic very, very well. So let me find that and then we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to share with you some research that I did. It's been a while now. It's been about 10 years ago. And it's called Mitigating Summer Reading Through a Summer Boost Reading Program. And I did this 3 years through grants that I wrote. So the issue that was at hand is that there is a lot of research that shows that kids lose about 3 months of reading growth in the summer. All kids learn, or all kids, what research shows is during the school year, all kids progress at the same rate. But kids from low socioeconomic backgrounds and struggling readers lose more in the summer. They lose about 3 months of reading growth. So some people say, well, the reason some kids are not learning as much. That's not in the school year. That's not what research shows. What research shows is it's the summer that's causing the gap. So I want you to think about if a student loses 3 months every summer, In 3 years, by the end of that second grade year, so you have kindergarten, first, and second, that student has already lost 1 year of reading growth just from summer reading loss. By the time they're in fifth grade, 2 years. So it's so important that we deal with summer reading loss. And so, what I did was and I'm going to skip some of this. If you want to see this, you can. And I have a published article about this. You can read my article if you want to read that. So what we did is we did a summer program. Some characteristics of a good summer program to help with reading for those struggling readers. Of course, it needs to be research based, direct and systematic decoding, comprehension, vocabulary. Um, we went beyond merely providing students with more books and opportunities, as this alone we didn't think was enough. We had to do something else. We wanted to promote engagement. Summer gains can be made when students are required to create projects. So we did look at some of that. And then we also added some supplemental activities to support what we were doing, like field trips. So it was an intentionally planned summer reading program. I'm going to kind of skip ahead. Um, this talks about me being the primary investigator. If you're used to all that, you can read that. Um, so one major part of the program that we did was explicit fostering of independent reading, which we know that kids, our struggling readers, need more reading volume. And so every day the kids could earn what we called book bucks, and they were equated to real money that could be spent. And at the end of the program, the kids were allowed to buy books at Barnes and Noble. And I'm going to show you a video of that based on how many book bucks they had. Here was our schedule. We started out in the cafeteria. We did games like chess and Connect Four. We did games that involved talking and problem solving and strategic things. We had a breakfast that was provided, that was federally funded, so we didn't have to pay for that in the grant. We had a morning meeting every day, which is something as an administrator, I always did a morning meeting where we did the pledge, we went over a daily agenda, set the schedule. Then we had whole group instruction where we looked at grade level standards. And I had hired teachers, but I also had graduate students like all of you that were getting a graduate degree in literacy that helped in that program. And then we did small group instruction for an hour based on assessments that the graduate students had given. We had whole group again, lunch, and then a physical activity before the students went home for the day. And this was a 6-week program. So, the purpose of this program was to show the effectiveness of the summer boost. So, how did I do that? Well, some of the participants, we had 244 elementary students that were from a very low, high poverty area. The students all took the directed reading assessment, the DRA, at the end of the year in May. It was we did at that school we did beginning, middle, and end of the year. We did have some students that attended summer boost that did not take the DRA, so we had to consider that. So in all, we had 55 students that partic. Well, we had more than 55, but we had 55 uh, that were in the summer boost that we had data for. Okay, so let's go over what we did. Here are the statistics that shows how many in each grade. So how many in the summer boost, how many in the non-summer boost, and then male, female. You can see we had a large African American and Caucasians. Mostly it was pretty evenly distributed. 94% of our students were, sorry about that, 94% of our students got free lunches. So that was a commonality. So, what we did was we administered what we call a directed reading assessment. And that's where kids are reading. And then after they read, you do a comprehension check on them. And a rubric was used to determine their DRA level. The district expected, students are expected to progress approximately 10 DRA levels to obtain 1 year of reading growth. So that's important that you know. So, what we did with the kids had that DRA in May at the end of the year. Then they had summer boost and they had the DRA when they started school again in August. Then we also administered some other assessments. We did what we call a 3-minute assessment, a quick assessment, which we checked their fluency. We looked at word recognition, comprehension, and vocabulary. So, what were the results? Well, we did what we, and this is all stats, but so here is our summer boost group and non summer boost group. So, we can see that that summer boost group lost 0.86 of a DRA level. So, they still lost. The kids that did not go to summer boost, though, they lost almost 2.5 levels. So the kids that did not attend the program lost a lot more in the summer than those that did not. It was at a statistically significant difference. Then looking at the timed assessments here, these were the 3-minute timed assessments. This is information. So again, this is at the end of school, at the end of summer boost, and then when the kids came back. So we can see the average of words correct per minute. They started in 86, for example. After summer boost, they went to an 88. When they came back, 82. So they still lost. But we're going to talk about not as much as they could have. Fluency, uh, 9.7. It went up to a 10 after summer boost. And then when they came back to school, it was a 9.18. So it went up compared to where they were at the end of the school year. And then here we can see comprehension went up from a 2.92 to a 3.38. Vocabulary also went up from the beginning of the school year, which that was good. So we were able to show that that worked. So just so you kind of understand something that we did a little bit different too. So besides the assessment, so we did the assessments in May when the kids got out of school. We did the summer boost for 6 weeks. We gave the assessments again, the 3-minute assessments, but then we did something different. And what we did was we gave them books that they could earn from their summer boost bucks. And then we assessed them again at when they came back to school in September. So, what my research showed is it did help. But what we don't know is for sure, was it the explicit instruction in reading or was it giving them books? The conclusion that I came with research, it was both. They wouldn't have learned how to read the books if we didn't give them explicit instruction. But then we followed up with allowing them to pick books that they liked. So I wanted to show you that video. And I can say that this was probably one of the best days of my teaching career is taking 100 plus kids to Barnes and Noble and letting them buy books. I mean, it was really a wonderful day. So I'm going to share this with you, and here we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. So that tells you a little bit about that program. And so again, what I'm trying to talk to you about today is the importance of when you are working with struggling readers, that one thing, of course, we have to provide them with explicit direct instruction, but we also have to provide them with books that they enjoy reading, and we have to increase that reading volume. Uh, and so this was one way that I was able to help with that. Now, why am I all nerdy about research? Because I did the research and because I had the stats to show that this was successful, I was able to get grants for 3 years to do this program. People aren't going to give to you and give money through a grant if they don't know that it's successful. Because I had the data to show that, I was able to keep on getting funding. The other thing that I was able to share with the research is I was able to go to the Kentucky legislature. This was in Kentucky, and I was able to share with a subcommittee in education the research, and they considered that research, and then they were able to fund schools for summer reading. So that was just such a wonderful opportunity that my research was able to be used to help in legislation for funding. But again, even the government, why give money to something that we know if it doesn't work? And so that's why research is important. That's why showing something is reliable and valid is important. It can get you some money, it can get funding on what we need. So this week, we're learning about struggling readers. You have quite a bit to read about. And then you have one article that you're going to be picking, and there's some questions on the discussion board that you'll be answering. I want you to get started on the literature review for module 6. And if you've never written a grant, uh, the first part of a grant, guess what you have to do? A literature review. Maybe that's something that you're thinking about. When I wrote my grant for Summer Boost, I had to do a big lit review about summer reading, the impact of summer reading loss. I've written other grants, and I always have to do some kind of a literature review to back that up. So, literature reviews are helpful in grant writing. They're helpful in knowing what resources to buy. Um, so it's not just, I don't want you to think that this is just a waste of time activity. This is something that if you're strategic and use it, it should be able to help you. Okay, that's all for this week. I hope you do well with Module 5. Again, if you have any questions, I have open office hours every Thursday from 6 to 7. And if you're interested in the research I published about summer reading, let me know. I can send you a copy. Thank you and have a good day. Hello.